The Get Better podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The opinions expressed are those of the participants. Please remember to gamble responsibly.
Welcome to the Get Better podcast for November 11th. Happy Remembrance Day, everyone out there in Canada. Special episode this week. I think we talked about it actually in our last podcast, which was 2 weeks ago. We made reference to the fact that we would have a special guest joining us. But right now I'm here with Troy Gub. How you doing, buddy?
I don't know if I've ever been more excited in our 1 year history of this podcast than today to have our first guest on the actual video. Second appearance. Let's be honest, he's been here before, but he's now on camera with us. And I'm really excited for that today.
And a long time listener. I mean, we've only been doing it for a year, but he's been here for the full year. So yeah, super excited. You guys are in for seriously a big treat in terms of knowledge and betting. This is like the guru in our minds. This is the man we seek. This is where we get all of our tips. He is an avid gambler. Some might call him a pro. Like he's a little bit of a pro in this.
I feel like he could pack in the career at any moment and switch to a full-time Las Vegas lifestyle.
Yeah, no question. Yeah, this is more than a side hustle. This for him, this is like he's probably making more gambling than he is in the day-to-day. Like that's how good this man is in betting. So a lot of insight, a lot of knowledge coming your way right now. And we're going to introduce Justin Ganza, Juice as we call him, G-Money, here to the podcast. Welcome, Ganza. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Ganza.
Intro was too much. I appreciate you making me seem like an expert, but I am just a casual bettor.
Modest. He's so modest as well.
So modest. You know, like what a great quality in a gambler, right?
It is.
You know,
it really is. And just a great quality in a human being as well. Just to be modest like that. Like this guy has more success betting than anyone we know, and he just rolls it off his back.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No chance.
All right.
So he loses the least amount of money. That's what we're framing this around.
Yeah, that's basically how we're framing this up. He loses the least amount of money in all of us. So, but at the end of the day, excited about this one. We're going to talk a little bit about, we haven't talked a lot of NBA we haven't talked any NBA really since the start of the season. We'll spend a little bit of time here, mainly coming at it from the emphasis and focus of prop building, something that Ganza, you spend most of your time in and have some experience in doing that. And again, in all honesty, when we think about the three of us as gamblers and bettors, and really the purpose and reason behind this podcast is an introductory level into sports betting and the things to look at. That's what we're looking to do here. Is Ganza is going to pass on a little bit of knowledge in terms of his experience and what he does and how he maps out his bets, specifically in the prop betting space. So we're going to get into that. But first, we need a little bit of the backstory here. We need to know where this kind of all began. Ganza, we have a little bit of insight around your first bet, and we think it would be great for you to share that story with our listeners. Take us back to 1994. What was it? Baseball lockout. You know, a year after the famous Wayne Gretzky high stick. Tell us about your first bet. Wow,
take us through that.
Your sports history is impeccable too. By the way,
I guess I just proved I'm the oldest. I'm the oldest.
Maybe not because Ganza in 1994 placing.
Who knows how old he was then?
I imagine he was 19 or 20 at that point in time. He's aged incredibly well. Look at him.
Like, so sharp. So sharp.
This guy. All right. So take us back to that first wager you've ever made.
So my first wager, as you guys said, it was 1994, and it was through Proline. And it was basically my dad, myself, and my brother, who basically put down a parlay on basketball. So it was I think it was the second last game of the season and the very last game of the season, and we won both nights. So we were on a little bit of a hot streak. But then, as you guys remember, I'm not sure if you guys do remember, but when the Raptors were introduced in 1995,
God.
they took away all basketball betting.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basketball betting never came back until 2010 on Proline. So essentially, we couldn't bet until.
Why did they take basketball betting away?
Because the NBA and the league
NBA stopped.
Yeah, you can't have.
That wasn't
betting
so.
within-
That's flat out across the board. That wasn't just
Yeah.
in Canada. That was flat
Yeah,
out across.
exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, so we
So
bet
do
on
you-
like a 3-game parlay. We won both nights, and then we were
And that was
riding a
it.
high, and then
Yeah, you were
that's it,
hooked.
because then-
Hooked ever since. Do you remember the game? Do you remember the games that you bet on or no?
No, I have no idea.
No idea.
idea.
Eh? That's all it took was just that little nugget. You see that? Daddy introduced you to something very valuable in your
That's it.
life.
That's right.
And really what that came down to was this is exciting. It's fun to have a little something on the line when you're watching sports betting, which leads
And
me
you
to
You
go
gotta
ahead.
remember that you would get all the scores the next day, right? Never had an internet.
Yeah, that's right. You'd have to go to the
Right.
paper.
So when we were doing our research, all of
Yeah.
our research was done from the Toronto Star and the Toronto Sun. Right.
That's right.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then the next day you would look for the scores, and if there was a 10:30 game, sometimes you wouldn't even have it. Right. You
That's
wouldn't get the
right.
10:30 score until the following day in the late box scores.
It's
So,
true.
yeah.
You couldn't even stay up late to watch TV then because the TV would end. Do you remember
Yeah.
the day would end and it would go to the Canadian national anthem? Do you not remember that? And the guy
No, I
rolling
don't
in the
remember that.
logs?
I don't remember that.
Oh yeah,
I
I
think-
do
I
remember
think-
Yeah,
that.
he'd roll in the logs, it'd sing
Yeah.
the national anthem, and then the TV
Oh,
would
yeah,
end. It'd be those
yeah.
lines.
It was-
The guy
yeah.
rolling the log.
Yeah. And I'm just like, boo. Just leave that and you have to turn your TV off because it didn't go 24 hours back then. Wow. Brings you
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. Cubs old.
yeah.
Yeah. So okay. Now that we've just really dated ourselves.
It's
now.
Yeah.
really brought back.
So 1994. So you win the what'd you say? You bet back-to-back nights parlay,
Yeah. Won
win
both nights.
those,
Mhm.
and then NBA betting stops.
Yeah.
When do you pick it up again? Do you roll into something? Were you just like, this is fantastic? I love the feeling of having a little something on the line here, and you're
Yeah, we were still able to bet like hockey.
Yeah.
So my dad
Yeah.
was a huge Leafs fan. So yeah, we weren't as successful because my brother and I would watch a lot of basketball, right? And then
yeah.
obviously the Leafs, but our focus was always basketball at that time because we were playing it.
Right. Fair enough. And then, okay, so fast forward to now, current state. Justin Gans is placing wagers. How frequently are you placing wagers? Like on a weekly basis? Like, let's get into the nuts and bolts of like just degenerate level. How much are you actually gambling on a weekly basis? Not to say that gambling on the daily is a degenerate thing to do, because it's a lucrative way of making money for a lot of people. But how much of a degenerate are you?
I'm probably betting 3 to 4 times a week at least, and then
Okay.
probably heaviest on Sunday for football.
And are you predominantly playing in the NFL, NBA
Yes.
space?
Exactly.
You're not betting so much on like NHL or
No, unless it's March.
Yeah.
March, guys, 4 months away from
4
the
months.
system back in play. We got to go even bigger this year, right? Like we had a successful year. We were up last year, right?
Yeah. I
do it
almost
again.
feel like that requires like maybe even a live podcast.
Oh my gosh. But I will say this though. We won the first year we did it and got crushed the next year, but we went a little crazy. We started to break out of the system rules and then we did good again. So I'm worried that this is that down year. This is that, balancing out of the karma. So
Yeah.
we got to be a little careful, but let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
March
We'll,
Madness.
we'll,
Can't wait.
we'll-
Double
yeah, we'll find out.
unders.
March Madness double unders is
Yeah.
always a fun one to bet. That's the one the three of us get in on
So-
that action.
Oh yeah, can't wait to do that
Yeah.
again. Yeah, we should do a little bit of live recording on that for sure for
Yeah.
social. So Ganza, one of the things we got you on to talk a little bit about is we know that you like to rely on something called Bet Builder. Can you tell us a little bit about what Bet Builder is?
I mean,
Yes.
platform you use too. Where are you doing your bet building?
Yeah, so recently, obviously, you know my past with doing pro line props.
Yep.
One of the only books that you could parlay props.
Yep.
A lot of the books that you guys come across, that's strictly one prop, and you can't bet with multiple props within the same game. But Bet365, which I currently use, is allowing individuals to parlay these props within that same game up to 12. So they do it with basketball, they do it with football, and they do it with soccer. It started off in soccer, but just recently it was another function within their site that you could actually bet on basketball. So that's what I'm currently using majority of the nights, and I'll throw on some money lines and some point spreads, but a lot of my time is spent using Bet Builder.
And so are you in using Bet Builder? And so I jumped in here into Bet365 to look at it. So selected a game for tonight just to have a look at this. But before we dive even deeper into that, are you using this almost exclusively with NBA? Do you use this on Sunday when you're betting NFL as well?
Not so much NFL, because again, I'm watching a lot of basketball. So I know you guys think that I'm this expert, and everyone has this notion that I'm a huge gambler, but I am.
Your nickname is Juice.
Yeah. With a nickname like Juice,
It's were you a bookie in high school? Like, what happened here? How'd you get that nickname?
You can't not be an expert with that handle.
No,
So
absolutely
keep
not.
going.
So
you watch a lot of basketball, you were saying?
Yeah, I watch a lot of basketball, so I'm just using it as a form of entertainment that basically adds value to actually watching the game live, right? So I'll typically focus on teams that I know a little bit more about, whether it is the Clippers or because of Kawhi last year. This year I'm focusing a little bit more on Miami because of Lowry, but I'll usually bet on every Raptors game. Try to build.
You bet on every Raptors game?
Majority of the time, yeah.
Even as a homer, like that's your team, that's your squad. You're still okay to bet on it.
Yeah, and I will never bet Raptors on a parlay or money line for the most part, unless I'm really desperate. Like that's like probably my sixth pick, but I'll definitely for Bet Builder, just my knowledge of the Raptors, and I think that's the best way to actually build a bet if you know the players and potential teams that they're playing against, right? So that's what I'm usually using.
So in that Bet Builder space, you're spending majority of your time. You're not spending a lot of time, as you said, betting on money lines or totals or spreads. You're honing in more specifically on players, matchups, and things like that, and focusing most of those props in that player space, individual player space.
Yeah. So within this Bet Builder, similar to how Proline does it, so you can bet on stuff like points,
right?
Total number of points. You go over under. You could go total number of assists. You could go, is the player going to get a double? Is the player going to get a triple double? So a lot of those bets you could correlate, and I've brought this up before in the past podcast, is try to find those correlations. So if you think a player is going to get a double, let's say it is Scotty Barnes, for example, getting a double. So if you bet his rebounds over, his rebounds are probably going to sit at around 7.5, 8.5. But if you think he's going to have a good night with grabbing boards, then you take the double and you bet the rebounds over as well, right?
Right.
So there's always a correlation there, right?
Smart.
So that's typically what I'll do, and then if I know, like some of the value that I get on some of these games are like Gary Trent at the beginning of the season, it was like 0.5 assists, right? He's leading the league in steals, right? So that was an easy win for me.
So you're obviously you're a big fan of the NBA. We know that. I think listeners are probably cluing in on that as well. Majority of the wagers you're placing are coming from just sheer knowledge and fandom. Like, you know the game that well, you follow it close enough to be able to make, educated guesses, call it, and bets on these, as opposed to relying on specific sources and things like that help you make those picks. Would that be a fair statement? Yeah.
It's a fair statement to say it's strictly gut.
Yeah.
Strictly gut.
Love it.
Yeah. And that's like, even the fact that you're not relying on other sources makes you that much more of an expert. So I mean, really, we're really uncovering some things about Justin Gans.
So let's play a bet builder for a second, because I love to start building out these kind of parlays. How deep are you going to go? How many games, how many different items do you want to see on a card with, and what kind of wager are you looking at? Like what's that sweet spot you want to be betting, and what are you trying to achieve if this thing all works out?
Yeah. Take us through a night of Justin Gans of placing the wagers, where you start.
So I'll go through everything, points, assists, and I'll try to find the value there. I'll usually stick with 3. So I call those 3 my keys. So the ones that I'm most confident in, those are my keys. So I'll bet my highest amount on those 3 keys.
Yep.
And then if I add another event, then I'll reduce my bet, because obviously you're getting more of a payout with those increased odds. But and so I at least want to cover what I'm betting with that 3 game ticket.
And that 3 game is like, that's the sweet spot for you, call it. Like are you always kind of looking for consistent, building that value through 3 options, three sort of props, and then from there finding other layers to add on that are kind of, you're reaching a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah. So for me personally, I think a 3-1 is a good bet. And then I'll try to, obviously you could go like 100 times your bet, right? But the likelihood of you winning that is very low, right? So I'll typically go 3, and then maybe I'll do a 4 event ticket, 5 event ticket. But as long as I'm being covered with those 3 events, then I'm fine with it.
Gotcha. Interesting.
What's your biggest hit on one of these things?
On one of these, probably 1,800.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
1,800. I think it was, but this isn't bet builder.
Yeah.
This is strictly pro line, but it's same premise.
Same concept.
Right?
Yeah. And you're betting, you're parlaying props, right? And that's all based on correlations, right? And so you have your 2 keys, and then you just start adding, and then
love it.
Multiples of that. Yeah.
Right. And how's the season been for you so far? NBA season, if you're looking at it, like, have you
good? I wouldn't
good
say
about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm like making thousands and thousands where I'm going to quit my day job. No, but I am pretty successful. Well, for me personally, and I don't know if you guys would agree, if you're breaking even and you're having fun with it, that's all good in my eyes, right? So
absolutely.
I think that's
losing.
Yeah, I'm of a similar mindset, right? Like I play in that space of I'm not looking to retire on my sports betting career. It's more so the added excitement that you get from having a little bit of something riding on the game. So I agree with you on that one.
Absolutely.
And if you can break even, you're in a good spot for sure.
So Gans, do you ever find yourself, like, you obviously diehard Raps fan as well, do you ever find yourself like when Raps really need a win, that you bet the opposite side just so you, no matter what, you're happy? You either win some money over here or your Raptors win and you're happy.
Absolutely. Yes. I'm willing to throw down money just knowing that I'll lose just so the Raptors would win.
Just so for your, I love it. I love that you'll bet just so no matter what, your own happiness will be great.
Hang on a second.
I love it.
Wait a minute. Time out on the both of you for 1 second. You're telling me right now you're willing to just throw money away. You might as well just flush it down the toilet just for the sake of getting that Raptors W and win.
100%.
100%. Especially if it's like a playoff game.
Yeah, I've done that.
Sure, playoff game. Game, I get it. Playoff game is fair. And you're riding that based on just sheer superstition.
Yeah.
Right? Like at the end of the day, it's like
complete witchcraft. Complete.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. I mean,
yeah.
Wow.
So again, so so you
do your wives know that, by the way?
No. Katie does not know that. We keep that confidential.
She does now.
She's looking over there like this, going, "What are you talking about right now?"
Yeah. What
have you done with our savings?
Yeah, what are you doing with Scarlett's post-secondary education funds? Not funny.
So Gans, so obviously you have a ton of fun gambling. Now it would be a miss if we didn't ask you about. Give us a really bad beat. Give us a
Love
tale,
a good bad
a
beat.
tale of just sadness.
The one, okay, so the one that I remember like it was yesterday was an NFL game that I was betting on. Props again. So it was Matt Ryan, who later was named Matty Ice for a good reason, because he just killed me this one game. And so, as you know, I bet a lot of unders, and you're always a winner until it goes over, right? So I think in the fourth quarter of a game versus the Saints, he was set at like 285.5 yards. So he couldn't get 286 in throwing yards. So there was 5 seconds left. And I think I was slated to win about, it was like around $2,000. And there was 5 seconds left. They were down 4, right? So, but they basically had 60 yards to get to the end zone. So if you're a coach, let's, for argument's sake, are you going to throw the Hail Mary or are you going to throw the lateral?
From 60.
From 60. What would you do?
You can throw 60 yards.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can throw 60 yards. You got to go for the throw, I think. An NFL quarterback's got to throw 60 yards.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. No, he throws it down the middle for 11 yards. Threw it down the middle for 11 yards, and then that was the end of the game. And so that put him at 292 total yards. And I was just sitting there, and I was just like, just couldn't believe what just happened, because everyone was thinking he was going to throw it into the end zone.
Yeah.
Or even a lateral, because a lateral would have been rushing yards.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, he throws it down the middle, and that cost me.
He goes over. Hey, Matty Ice says that maybe he doesn't have the bomb in the arm we think he does.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I remember that. It was so bad, and it was brutal.
Okay.
And I remember I was betting on that game higher than I typically would, because I won the night before.
Right. Oh, so you wagered even a little more.
Yeah, because
And
I knew
it felt good.
was,
Bankroll was looking solid. You're like, I feel good about this one. On here.
Dumped it
Why are
for
you
11
throwing
yards,
that?
and then ended
I
the
could
game.
see that.
11 yards. Oh yeah.
No, I could just see that.
Yeah, you just,
that.
that's when you sit back on the couch and you're just like shocked.
Yeah, but that was like, honestly, that was like 2013, and I still remember like it was yesterday. And since then, to be honest, like whenever I get a bad beat now, I just laugh, because I know like, I've seen it all, like to the point where like I've bet $500 on Anderson Silva, and he's broke his leg in a match.
Yeah.
Right.
There was a great one recently with in Vegas. I don't know the full story, where someone had a big parlay, and the final piece of the parlay was Tom Brady rushing yards. And it was like, I can't even remember what it was, but it was so young. And he on this, like the second last play, he did a sneak and got the first down. Right. And the guy's going crazy, and he won. The very next play, because they're ending the clock, he had to take a kneel down, and he lost the 1 yard. So it went back under. So he went over, wins, because he got the first down. He's like, yeah, I win. Nope. Kneel down.
I've seen that happen before.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen before with Steven Jackson. Yeah.
Well, betting on Tom Brady rushing yards just seems like a foolish thing to do.
Yeah, fun one for sure.
Crazy. Do you find you remember the wins or the bad beats more? Like, what do you find you remember more?
The bad beats for sure, 100%.
The really bad ones for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, Ganza, last question before you head out.
What are you doing?
Water.
Right now? What is that, man?
What do you carry your water in?
Hang on a second. You just aged yourself at the beginning of the podcast. Now you've brought this mug from this jug from the 70s.
You fill it up with water.
Tupperware. That's Tupperware bread for sure.
Pretty
What
old,
is that thing?
It's my biggest jug of water. It's my biggest jug of water. That's how you get your liters in. Am I gonna walk to the fridge all day? Let's have this big thing here.
Dude,
room temperature.
You don't have like a glass one or something like.
Not that can carry like 2 liters. You guys missing out, man. Okay, Ganza, thanks so much for joining us today. Give us one thing. Raps make the playoffs, yes or no?
Yes, I have a bet on it.
Yeah.
And I also
What
have
seed? What
futures
seed?
Bet.
Above what?
I would say 7th or 8th.
1-6, buddy. 6.
Wow.
6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why
Bold
and I also have a futures bet on Nick Nurse winning Coach of the Year.
Same here, man. Same. I got
I
that
like
bet.
that one. I
Oh,
do.
yeah.
I like that one. I like
I
that
wanted
one.
to get the Scotty Barnes in for Rookie of the Year.
My God, I didn't even think about
but
that
it's
one.
not. It's only paying $250 right now.
Yeah.
It was significantly higher, maybe plus 1,000.
That's amazing. Well, again, thanks again for coming on. Always great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
And I can't wait to, you're going to be our kind of go-to reoccurring guest for sure. We got to get you on before March Madness again. So
we're gonna
thanks for joining us for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna build a segment. We're gonna build a segment called Juice, and it's gonna be like a tip of the night. Here's what Juice has given us the detail from the expert himself, the legend, known as the pro better. So we'll figure out that segment. We'll make it happen. But for those listening, check out Bet365 Bet Builder, a fun little way to build some props. You may not be the expert or fan that Justin Gans is, might require a little bit more research, a little bit more insight, but a fun way again to build some props and some parlays and get in on the action in terms of watching, having a good time, enjoying watching the game. So check that out. Always fun. Ganza, thanks for joining us again, buddy.
Thanks,
We're gonna get you back on and God, we'll be back at it in another week or two. Don't know what we're going to cover next. We'll figure that out.
Ganzo, I don't know if you know this, but Boone and I have been talking about getting a horse.
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel about getting in on this with us? You want
to buy a horse?
Am I how much do I have to each hatch for you? Like it's March.
Oh, we don't know yet, but hay. It's hard to find free hay. That's for sure.
You bring up an interesting fact. I know it's 4 months away, and we've been dangling this horse carrot on our listeners. Do we take the winnings from March Madness to fund the horse?
But oh my! So whatever we win goes towards the horse.
Yeah, we buy.
I love it. I love it.
Down.
Yeah. All right, he's in.
Yeah.
Let's go.
How much? Come on. How hard? What are stable fees really? Like how much? Yeah, what are we talking here?
Who knows?
Room for a horse. It's basically a shed.
A room
like, come on.
I got a lot of room in the backyard. I can build one. I'm gonna just house the horse in the backyard.
you gotta run him, man. You gotta run him. You're not gonna run him.
I live on a crescent. We can just go around the crescent. Come on, let's get him out here. Let's go.
Man. All right.
So more to come on the horse, and when and how and what we're buying. We'll figure that out. But yeah, until next time, thanks everyone for listening. Ganza, pleasure as always, buddy. Appreciate your expert knowledge, and we'll get you back on in short order. See you, everyone.
All right, guys. Take care.
Have a good night.